Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining. Welcome to our latest Broker Lunch and Learn webinar. My name is Leah Elias. I'm part of the product marketing team at DAT, and I'll be moderating today's session. The purpose of our Lunch and Learn events is to educate brokers on the latest product updates from DAT. So please be aware that for this specific session today, we will be demoing only broker tools and solutions. In just a moment here, I will pass things over to our talented team of product experts to run through live demos from each of their respective focus area. Before we dive in, though, I did want to review some housekeeping items for the Swoogo platform. First off, if at any point you have a question, you can submit one using the Q&A button found on the right hand of the panel, directly above the chat. We will answer questions after all of our product experts have a chance to present, but feel free to submit as they come up. The chat will be monitored as well, but I would recommend posting questions through that actual Q&A button just to ensure that we see them. Feel free to let us know how you're feeling this morning in the chat as well. I always like seeing where people are dialing in from, so let us know that in the chat if you'd like. I'm coming to you from Denver, which is a little hazy this morning from wildfire smoke, so let me know if there's any other fellow Coloradans out there. The last thing I'll say before introducing our speakers is that there is now a new way to connect directly with DAT after the webinar if you'd like. Simply click on the Contact Trucker Tools or Contact DAT buttons located under the webinar browser to reach us. You will be directed to another form, which I'm very sorry about, but that is the best way to ensure someone from DAT or Trucker Tools will reach out to you after the webinar. Okay, that felt like a lot, but with me today, I am very excited to be joined by an incredibly talented group of experts. I'll go ahead and let everyone on the call introduce themselves. Robert, maybe starting with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Robert Ross. I'm a product manager here at DAT. I've been at DAT for about 12 years, and over that time, I've worked with brokers and carriers in the transportation industry, and excited to show you guys some new cool things that we're working on.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amy. I am one of the senior user experience designers here. Been with DAT for about 3 years. I'm in the Portland area right now with some sunny weather, so I'm very thankful for that today. And I'm excited to show you a little bit more about the posting form and all the cool updates we have.
Awesome. My name is Ethan Sims. I'm a product manager on the Trucker Tools side. So I've been with Trucker Tools for about 2 years now, and then been with DAT for about 8 months. And I'm really excited to show you what we have new on Trucker Tools. I'll pass it over to Cole.
Good morning, everybody. Cole Hitchon, product manager here within the IQ space of DAT. I've been in the transportation industry for about 15 years now, largely brokerage experience, but working closely with carriers and shippers as well. My focus is the Rate View product line, and I'll be showing off some cool stuff within our new IQ Rate View interface. I'll pitch it over to Chad.
Hi, everyone. Chad Kennedy, product manager at DAT on the IQ side as well. I've been with DAT about 7 years, so looking forward to what we have to show you today. Thanks.
Great. Thank you all. So on the next screen that you'll see in just a minute is an agenda for today's session. This is exactly the content that we'll be going through. So to start, the team will highlight new posting improvements and exciting new equipment types available in DAT 1. Ethan will then cover load tracking solutions from Trucker Tools with a special focus on the text-to-track tool. Some exciting updates there that he'll go through. And then finally, we will review updates in DAT IQ. So specifically the benchmark tool and then the rate view experience as well, which some of you on this call may have noticed have been upgraded into the DAT IQ ecosystem. With that though, Robert, I will hand things over to you to kick us off.
Awesome. Super excited about some changes that we've made recently to our equipment types. One of the pieces of feedback that we've gotten over the years is that there's more opportunities for DAT to help brokers actually connect with the right equipments on our platform. So one of the ways that we did that is, you can see that here when you're posting a shipment. First off is we really wanted to hone in on our specialty equipment a little bit better. So what you can do is you can now actually post any sprinter van, hazmat, temp control sprinter van, or team right in there, and basically all carriers can then search that and see that type of equipment. Every single month since we've launched this, we've continued to see sprinter vans grow and grow and grow on our platform. We've known that they've been here for a little bit of time, but now we're actually seeing being able to transact that through our marketplace. We're working on some TMS integrations for this as well for sprinter vans. So if you have a TMS that you want us to work with, let us know, and we can definitely work on doing that as well. We've also improved the power only, which is another area that we have quite a few power only loads on DAT. And it used to be in the comments, you would see if it was a tow away or load out. Now you can actually post either of those as the actual equipment type. So that way carriers, when they're searching for the loads on the platform, can very quickly see what type of power only that they'll need for this specific load, versus them having to give you a call and ask that question again. And then the last one that we did for specialty equipment types is we improved our straight box trucks. So instead of just having just a straight box truck, we added hazmat and reefer as well, because these are two equipment types that we actually see quite a bit on our load board as well. And so we added those, so that way it makes it much easier for everybody to search as well. So that was our specialty equipment types. The other thing that we have been working on is our flatbed and open deck improvements. So one of the things that a couple weeks ago, I spent some time on the road with a flatbed and step deck driver, and really dove deep in trying to understand how we can improve this process. And through that, we came out with this specific improvement, and we'll continue to iterate on this and make it better. But essentially what we wanted to do is as I was out there on the road with the driver, we were finding that the comment section was constantly filled with really important information, but it was really hard for the driver to actually go and dig for that every single time. So what we wanted to do was make that a lot easier by allowing brokers to post multiple attributes about that specific load that is needed to move. So for example, you used to be able to post flatbed with chains. You can still do that. But let's say you need chains, coil racks, straps, and you need 8-foot tarps. You can now select all of those attributes, and that will go along and be posted directly for the carrier to see. So, ultimately the good news is it's going to reduce how much data entry that a broker has to add it into the comments. You can focus more on any instructions to the driver in the comment section that is needed outside of these attributes. So the goal is to hopefully make this much more efficient. And so we've seen quite a few of these load postings out there that are starting to use multiple attributes. So if you do have a load that needs multiple of these, just make sure to put those in when you're posting it on DAT1, so that way the driver can see that in a pretty clear way. With that, I will switch it over to Amy.
Thanks, Robert. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about kind of that posting experience. So after you have posted one of those wonderful loads with our flatbed and all the attributes, right, we're going to see the My Shipments table. And typically, right, we're going to see all the information. But recently we've had an update that kind of shows some of these things off to the side. And while we get all the information that we used to have, sometimes this isn't helpful depending on the screen sizes. So we've changed how our table features work. So now you'll be able to kind of customize each column width or length. You'll also be able to hide or remove columns. So sometimes, right, if I'm not doing anything with bidding, I might remove that. Or I know that I'm only working in flatbeds, and I don't need to know that because I only reference my reference number for anything that I need. So I'm able to hide those columns, and now I see just the columns that I really want to understand. Another cool feature is that This is also customizable for the order. So very similar to any kind of spreadsheet that you've worked on, every person is able to adjust where those things go. So if I'm someone that I prefer to have my reference right up front, right next to my rate, to making sure that I'm always accurately picking the right one and talking to customers and our carriers at the right one, I'm able to see that and adjust it right away based off of my settings. And the other things that we've seen, as you'll kind of see, we have a new table settings feature. So you can come in here and adjust some of those densities and that contrast view. I'm someone that likes to work really compact, but there are some people that prefer a little bit more space. But I like seeing all my loads at one time. So as you can see now, I can see everything on my page. I also can add alternate colors and unbold those red settings so that I can just see it a little bit easier for myself. But those are all personal and everyone can kind of choose their own. Another cool option is our company search. So when you are on the phone with a carrier, you no longer have to navigate all the way over here when you're looking. You're able to click on this new company search button, which will bring right up our basic company search where you can type in anybody. I'm going to go Landstar because I know that they're going to pop up for me, as I can't spell today either. And we're able to kind of look at their directory and their information and their profile right then and there. But another way to kind of get to these carrier company profiles is through search trucks. So I have a search up here right now. I'm looking from Houston to Zone 1, trying to find some trucks for my flatbed loads. And there's a lot of results. I got a good 27 results. I have some people, but I'm not sure if they really work for me. So there's two ways now that we can kind of set up stuff. So if you haven't noticed, we have this qualification settings beta feature right here where you can click in here and you can exclude unsatisfactory or conditional carriers. You can also set your age of authority. Say I have a rule that my company can only work with 1 year. It goes in here and it will quickly add that visual difference into those carriers that do work. Now, all these carriers happen to work for me, which is great. If there is an M dash, it just means we don't have that much data on there, and we possibly just need to dive in a little bit more. But let's see if we can kind of get somebody that might not work for us. I don't think so. Oh, down here, right? So this turquoise trucking, I can now see that, hey, I'm not even going to try to call them because they aren't going to be within my authority age level. So whether that's, working with 180 days or 2 years, we're just not going to call them. We can skip on it. We're also able to kind of get more information right here. So if you click on that company name, you're able to kind of get some insights quickly. Again, pull up that carrier company profile, and we can drill in a little bit more about their highlights, any crashes or inspections that they have. We can look at their authority and environment. We also have information from Certificial about their insurance. So we're able to kind of look and dive a little bit deeper on that type of insurance if I'm questioning if I want to work with them. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Trucker Tools and Ethan talking about all that.
Awesome. Thanks, Amy. So yeah, here presenting Trucker Tools. If you guys don't know, Trucker Tools is a load tracking and visibility solution that was recently acquired by DAT about 8 months ago. So for this demo today, I would love to give just a brief overview of our core tracking functionality for anyone who is unfamiliar. And then I will also be deep diving into one of our features called Text to Track. So here is our broker dashboard. I want to point out that everything you're going to see in this demo, Trucker Tools has really robust TMS integrations. So a lot of the data that you will see that we are providing to our brokers, we also post to the TMS. So stuff like location updates, status updates, document uploads will all be uploaded to our TMS, and load tracks are created automatically from the TMS. But starting at this page, right, you have a snapshot of all of your loads. You are able to filter to certain date ranges, certain load statuses, or just search for a load. For the purpose of today's demo, we will pull up a demo load. And so coming over here, this is our main load tracking detail screen. As I said before, all the information on this screen will really be available in our broker's TMS. But what Trucker Tools does for you is we are able to track your loads at a really high level. We are providing as much visibility as we can into these loads. And so here on this map, you can see a ton of tracking updates for the loads. To dive into how we typically track loads, there are 3 tracking methods. You can see some of the blue pings here are telematics or ELD pings, and some of the red pings are app pings. So our locations, how we pull location updates is on a waterfall system. And so we will first try and track via ELD devices or telematics devices. So as long as the carrier is telematics integrated with trucker tools, we are able to pull from a valid truck or trailer number that the broker provides us. If for whatever any reason ELD tracking is not working, maybe the carrier is not ELD integrated or we were provided the wrong truck or trailer number, we will automatically fall back to app tracking. We have hundreds of thousands of drivers active monthly on our mobile app tracking loads. And then we will get those updates from that mobile app every 5 minutes. If for whatever reason, maybe the driver doesn't want to download the app or they have the incorrect location permissions, we also have a third waterfall option for tracking to ensure visibility on all loads, and that would be text to track. I'm going to dive a little deeper into text to track towards the end of the demo, but as the name says, it's really the ability to track via text. Other things I really wanted to point out, just high-level Trucker Tools features on this page. We have the raw location updates that you can download. We have all the different events and statuses on the load. So this would be stuff like when we started tracking, when we entered pickup or delivery locations, if there's any exceptions on a load, maybe potential fraud alerts, running late alerts, that would all be visible here. We have our stop information with the in and out times that we send to our customer TMSs for when the carrier entered and exited different facilities. We have the ability to track temperature. So if we have a reefer load and the carrier is reefer integrated with Trucker Tools, we can actually pull real-time temperature updates on those loads and display them in graph form and table form as well. We have the ability for carriers to upload documents. These are real-time photos that are tied to locations. So in this case, right, we have a proof of delivery document. You can see when, where, and when it was uploaded. This will be important for later in the demo when I talk about one of Text to Track's document collection features. We have the ability for two-way communication between brokers and carriers. So brokers can enter comments to carriers, right, telling them to upload certain documents or asking them about their ETA, and carriers can respond via our mobile app. Other things shown here, we have our carrier information, we have our shipper information. We are able to provide our broker customers their customers updates, right? So we're able to provide these shippers updates directly to the shippers visibility platforms, as well as through a shipper tracking link that can be emailed to shippers or can be copied here and sent out. So that is some of the more basic core Trucker Tools functionality. I would love to be able to demo all the cool features, alerts, and capabilities that we have. But for today's demo, I wanted to focus on Text to Track, as we launched a really cool document collection automation feature last quarter based off of Text to Track. So Text to Track, as I was saying before, really is the ability to get location updates through text. So if you have a driver who is unwilling to integrate their ELDs, unwilling to download an app, you can still track via Trucker Tools. We will send automated messages to those drivers on a certain cadence to provide a one-time location ping. So I'm quickly going to change my screen to what this would look like from the driver's perspective. Oh, I just shared the wrong one. One sec. Here we go. And so from the driver's perspective, right, for Text to Track, they will get this type of message. In this case, Trucker Tools demo account is requesting a one-time location update. It would be the broker name through Trucker Tools Text to Track. Click here to send your location. All the driver needs to do here is click this link and click allow on their location permissions. And instantly we will receive a location update that will be shown on our UI as well as sent to your TMS. Going back to the broker view, Now here on the broker view, you can come to your locations tab. You can see that these locations were all sent through text to track. You can see where and when they were. In this case, this text to track ping was actually within our delivery geofence. So it triggered that enter delivery geofence status, as well as a delivery geofence entry timestamp. So that's what text to track has always been. It's been that last resort tracking. Those schedules will continue to automate text to the driver every couple of hours until the driver is able to find a more reliable tracking method via app and ELD, where you can get those 5 to 15-minute location updates. Now, the last thing I want to discuss today is our new text-to-track document collection feature, which will help brokers automate the document collection process. The real idea behind this feature came from visiting some of our broker customers, sitting with some of the dispatchers on the floor, and really seeing what processes we determined to be manual or pain points for these customers. And really what we were able to see is that document collection, constantly reminding carriers and drivers to upload their documents or email them to the broker dispatcher, and then take those documents from their email and uploading those directly to the TMS, is a very manual process. And if you have 15 loads that you're monitoring all day and you have to collect documents on all 15 of those loads, it can really be a time-consuming task. So with text-to-track document collection, we are able to automate those reminders on your behalf. Since Trucker Tools is tracking those carriers and drivers, we know the correct times to ask for certain documents. And so we are able to prompt those reminders on your behalf with no manual broker intervention, and have the carriers upload those documents through text-to-track. And then once those documents are uploaded, they will actually go straight to your TMS. So really streamlining that entire process. Currently, the most common automation that we see our customers using is once the driver enters the delivery geofence, it triggers a text to request a proof of delivery document. So in this case, right, we have that enter delivery geofence status. And I will quickly show you one more time what this will look like from the driver's perspective. Bear with me as I pull this up. And so very similarly, from the driver's perspective, text will look very similar. But in this case, Trucker Tools demo account is requesting a proof of delivery document through text-to-track. All the driver needs to do is click on this link. They'll be prompted with the specific document. They'll see which load number they're assigning this document to. They'll take a real-time scan of the image. In this case, it's my coffee manual. And then all they need to do is click upload, and the document will instantly be uploaded to your TMS as well as to our portal. So last time, switching screens, I promise, going back to the broker view. You can now see that this document was uploaded on this load. You can download it. You can see who it was uploaded by, where it was uploaded, when it was uploaded. And as I've said many times, it will be uploaded in your TMS. So really streamlining document collection the best we can, right? This all works in the background without any dispatcher having to manually remind drivers or take those documents from their emails and upload them into their TMS. So that is our demo for today. If you have any questions on any of this, please feel free to write in the chat. And if you want to learn more about Trucker Tools in general, you are able to by clicking Contact Trucker Tools for more. I will pass it over now to Chad. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ethan. So I'll be taking us through IQ Benchmark, which lives in the IQ platform. So if you are a RateView Premium subscriber, you should see in the left-hand navigation here the benchmark icon here with the new symbol on it. And if you launch that and you're contributing data, then you'll see the BI tool here that I'm showing you. If you're not contributing data, you'll be greeted with a landing page that will give you instructions on how to start contributing data, with an I'm interested link that you can click, and then our team will reach out to you to start that process. So what we're showing you here as a customer is the data that you've contributed to us, and we've layered on rate view benchmarking. So we're showing our customers how their rates that they've contributed compare to the rate view benchmarks as of the date of the pickup. So it's historically going back through your data and comparing your rates to rate view as of the date of the pickup. And we update that every time you contribute data. It will show up the next morning in the application for you. So our customers are using this really at a high level, two main ways. One is for managerial reporting to send out through their organization to communicate how their rates and maybe by different segments, by geography, maybe here on the map, compare to rate view rates and also over time. So this top view here is really that top summary that would service as a managerial report to give that very high level view by geography and just in summary, and then some trends over time. So this bar chart, for example, shows rates over time, currently by month, but you can show this by week or by year. Just like any good managerial reporting, it's always important anytime you are applying filters to understand what data is behind the view that you're viewing. So this will always dynamically change anytime you apply a filter in the application. You'll always be able to see what data is included here, including the date range that's been filtered out. So as you saw there, anything that I click on here serves as a filter and gives me that ability to drill down. For example, here I can quickly find my worst performing lanes, show me all of my lanes that are more than 10% over the rate view rate. And I can find those lanes on the map and drill down further into the details. As I scroll down here, you can see there's a lot of great trend data, my rates in purple, the rate view rate in gray on aggregate on these lanes that I'm filtered for and how those are trending over time. You can also look at several other trends. What is the average distance on those lanes, my percentage spot mix, what are the load counts on those lanes. We also separate out the data by different attributes. So this attribute here I'm looking at is by lane consistency. So my vertical axis, I can see delta cost, that's dollars over benchmark. So something high up on the vertical axis is the highest dollar amount over the rate view rate, so the highest opportunity. So I can quickly see these lanes that I'm only running 1 to 3 weeks out of the year or are my highest opportunity to drive improvement. And then I can drill down into those, of course, and continue filtering. And as I keep scrolling down, I can see lane level detail. This is already pre-sorted worst to best. So those lanes that are the highest delta cost or dollars over the rate view rate are at the top. And I can work my way down through those. And you can see down here below, same with my carriers that I'm using, sorted worst to best. And this will filter dynamically. So if I filter down on my worst performing lane, I can see those carriers that are running that lane for me. So you can see how this drill down capability serves for root cause analysis. If you're familiar with going through root cause analysis, one of the keys there is ask why 5 times. Why am I 9% over the rate view rate? Drill down into specific areas of the country or lanes that are driving that down to a single lane, down to specific carriers. So those two high level use cases I mentioned, first the managerial and then that more tactical analytical use case that I just kind of stepped through there with you. So we released this in January and customers have started to pick it up and starting to use it more and more. It's exciting to see. Some of the new features that we've released over the past few months are, one is our algorithmically defined spot rate. So you can flag loads as spot or contract when you contribute data. We have found with this tool, as customers are seeing their contribution data in front of them, that some struggle to flag loads. Sometimes it's a manual flag in your TMS system. And so that data isn't always as accurate as our customers would like. So we created an algorithm to detect as a load a spot rate or a contract rate using a proxy based on reoccurrence of lane rates. So that's something that we apply for you on the back end. And then you can see quickly here, what percentage of my loads are spot loads versus contract loads. This is all on the buy side, by the way. I don't recall if I mentioned that before. So these are your buy rates. Are they contract? Are they reoccurring contract rates or spot rates? And zeroing in on those contract rates, I've seen customers use this as a way of finding leverage in the marketplace. Those areas where you have reoccurring lane rates are sometimes the areas where you have the most leverage to reduce your cost in negotiating with carriers. So that new feature has rolled out. We've also added in the equipment type, we've added power only and intermodal equipment types. We've got this labeled as beta. And it's very important to notice what we're doing here is we're benchmarking those against a van benchmark rate. But in meeting with customers, we've found that even though we don't have a power only benchmark or an intermodal benchmark yet, they are finding value in comparing them to a van benchmark. And some of them were already doing this in spreadsheets or their own BI tools. So if you're submitting power only or intermodal, that data will be there. If you're not and would like to, we can help you out with that. So we've also released recently the ability to integrate with lane makers. So the workflow here is, as I'm analyzing my worst performing lanes, let's say this LA to Indy lane is top of my list. Once I select a single lane, I can launch lane makers. I've already run this lane here. And so it pre-runs the lane that I was just on, the LA to Indy, the equipment types I was running on that lane, and it pre-searches for the 30 days. This is the premium version of Lane Maker, so I can see load searches over here, which are really critical. And it's sorted from the carriers that we think are the most interested based on truck posting and load searches on this lane. So I can also quickly find information about this carrier if they might be, to learn if they might be a good fit. So that workflow of identify that worst performing lane and then work towards maybe adding capacity to your network as a solution to bring down your cost on that lane. Another new feature that we've recently rolled out is we've added in sell rates as well. So brokers are able to contribute buy cost to us. And a significant portion of our brokers are already, over 60% are already contributing sell rates. And so if you are, you will see them in this column. And we're calculating gross margin for you and margin percent. And over here to the right, also margin per load. So a use case here is, you can ask a question of your data, show me my lanes that have the highest margin per load. This might be an area that you want to expand capacity into and take advantage of your competitive advantage in this lane. Or you could do the reverse of that. Show me those lanes that have the worst margin per load. These might be lanes that you want to start to back off of or find better solutions for, add more capacity to. And we're also working on releasing in the next few weeks those margin stats also in this cost by attributes. And you'll also see them in the trends lines showing up here and also in the bar chart here in the next couple of weeks. So I think, oh yes, one other recent release is just with any BI tool, one of the most common requests we were getting is, I want to come in and I want to only look at my office number. So I want to apply a few filters. And every time I log in, I don't want to have to keep applying those filters over and over. So I want to be able to save this setting. So maybe this is my specific area of the country or business that I want to focus on. So now you can save this view in the upper right-hand corner. By clicking that view, it creates a unique URL. You can share this URL with someone else in your business. Say, hey, check out this trend that I'm seeing. Can you help me validate this is accurate? Or you can save this so that you can return back to this specific view over and over. Yeah, I think that's a wrap for all of the new features that we've rolled out over the last couple of months. And yeah, look forward to hearing your questions. So with that, I think I'll hand it over to Cole.
Thanks, Chad. Great demo. All right. Thanks, everybody, for having me today. I am going to give you a quick tour of IQ Rate View. So just a couple of disclaimer housekeeping items real quick. I will be using a subscription base that's of the highest. So if you see features or products within here that you're certainly interested in, please reach out to your representative or inquire via the webinar link. So the other thing is we have this cool little feedback button down on the bottom right. Please fill that out if you are a current rate view user. We love hearing from you. In fact, I'm going to review a couple of pieces of features that were largely submitted on the feedback form. So we do, in fact, listen to it. And if you're new to rate view, then welcome. And I'm happy to give you a little bit of a quick tour. So as a starters, one upgrade from the legacy rate view is our enhanced recent search experience so that you can pick up where you left off of. So I'm going to just execute this real quick. I'm going to hide a couple of things here just for simplicity as I jump in here. So I'm going to give you a quick tour and then I'll hop into the new features. So I'm going to break this screen apart just in a couple of different ways and how we typically describe them. So on the top, very top layer here, of course, your OD pair entry and then equipment type. For rate view, of course, we have van, reefer, and flatbed. And then right below it, I'm going to skip that one for a second, but we offer 3 different rate types. One is new, and I will cover that in a little bit. We offer the broker to spot rate, which is a broker to carrier transaction. The shipper to spot, which is the new one, which is a shipper to broker spot transaction. And then the shipper contract, which is a shipper to broker / carrier contractual rate. Additionally, we have per load, per mile. These are really just additional settings. And then new to IQ Rate View compared to legacy is the ability to toggle on or off fuel to reflect all of the rates in the screen. You can also add your own custom fuel surcharge with the cell as well. All right, so diving into the actual first part of it, which we refer to as our current rates, you can skinny this up by just selecting the best fit rate, which is described as the lowest granularity of geography and time frame. This is really just the same rate that's in legacy rate view on the upper right. One of the upgrades is that you can actually see more rates over time in a singular view, and there's no toggling within the slider bars that in legacy sat beneath the OD search. So just as a quick recap in terms of what the rate view rate actually means. So the rate view rate is really comprised of 3 data points. So the big bold guy is the average rate. That's really the contribution data that we get. It's a compilation and aggregation of a bunch of data points from all of our contributors. And we take that rate and then we create a simple average of it. And this is probably the most common used rate that sits within it. But equally as important to tell the story of actually how the distribution sits are these low and high numbers. And really the low and high aren't some sort of manufactured plus or minus. They're really the range, and it's really the middle 50%. So when you look at this particular rate, this 4193 is the bottom 25th percent rate, and this upper one is the 75th percent rate. And why that's important is typically if you're evaluating this, the wider it is the further distribution. The larger distribution, and the skinnier they are, the tighter. So if you use just a simple rule of thumb, you're historically probably going to pay within that tighter, you have more likely to pay within that tighter range of 50%. It gives you a little bit more confidence when you're evaluating rates. We can talk at length at another time. You can ping me or ping your sales rep, and we'll happy to give you more of a further analysis of it. The reports in companies, this is really the sample size. So we have 14 different loads that moved within 7 different companies. And the algorithm, the way that it works is we never give more weight than 50%, 49% to be exact, to one singular company. So if one of these companies actually submitted, half the rates, we actually take that into consideration and give an equal amount of opportunity for the average to take set, just because we don't want one particular contributor to take home most of the weighted average. The time frame and geo are important. So for these current rates, it's really a place and time perspective when we're evaluating these top ones. 3 days is just, of course, 3 days back from actual to pick date. So these are included of loads that are in transit as well. And then the market is really just our standard KMA definition. There we do have essentially a table or a spreadsheet that you can view to actually map all the zip codes that go into these markets. If you desire, please reach out to your sales rep for that as well. And those, of course, can expand, and that's why I want to save this one for later. We can actually expand those, and you can view different time and places on what those actual rates are. So if you were looking for a little bit more granularity, we may not have the rates to fulfill a tighter time frame. So of course, this one's 15 days, but we most certainly will give you the rates that will, of course, meet that threshold for the rate view to be able to supply a rate, but also at a more granular level of a 3DZ. All right, moving on, we're going to go down to the graph section for a second. So the number one use case for our graph is to really just see trends over time. This is really important, of course, aside from spot rating, but also contractual. If you're entering into RFP season, you want to see what happened last year. This is a perfect place to do it. We offer a few different options within here that you can select. So if you wanted to see how our other rate types compare amongst each other, you can overlap them and give you a good idea of where the expansion or compression might sit. Of course, this is really important when markets flip, right? When contract and spot get a little tighter and they expand a little bit more. And then I'll dive a little bit deeper into the shipper spot use case in a little bit. We have the ability to toggle into the table. This is really neat if you're doing a little bit more analysis and you want to maybe use a spreadsheet or share some of the data. It's a little bit easier to do it this way. One of the new features, I can't wait. I was going to do it at the end, but I unfortunately got to do it now. One of the most requested items that we just released a couple weeks ago is the show labels. This was a heavily used feature within our legacy rate view. It allows you to actually see all of the numbers on the graph at one time. We did bring that back. And then moving on to our forecast, I actually forgot to mention it up here. This is a part of our RateCast add-on subscription. It offers, this rate up here is the 35th day of the RateCast. So this provides you a spot look into the future. We do offer the graph perspective as well. So this particular lane remains fairly flat. The RateCast data is actually supplied of about 6 years worth of rate view data. We put an ARIMA model behind it. So it's leveraging AI. And really what we're doing is we're smoothing out historically last year's maybe some of its plateaus or elevation spikes due to something of like seasonality, unexpected seasonality. It could be weather events, etc. So this gives you a really good perspective of maybe what to anticipate, largely used for that RFP situation as we kind of get into more of a 13th month, month over month. And then, of course, the last one, you can get pretty fun and robust with it if you'd like. You can see all the trends at one time. All right, moving on. I'm going to touch on the third component, which is our contributions on here. So if you're a contributor, Chad just did a great demo on the benchmarking tool. We offer essentially a benchmarking light within here. This is it's a legacy feature from Legacy RateView where you could actually bring in your own data and see how you compare against the market. This is a lane by lane analysis. Of course, Chad's the benchmark is more of an aggregate perspective of your business. So on the first one, we have how you compare to actually the time and place that I was referring to before. So on this particular instance, there's 23 loads on this lane that a company reported on, and then the average that actually fell within there is actually 2% below market. So this is a really good way to actually look at lane by lane analysis. How am I performing? How could I communicate to leadership how we're doing on this? Is there a reason why this might be below or above? What type of behavior changes can we possibly make? So this is a good way to look at it. Another one, or the other two, are really the load by load case analysis. You can actually look visually. This is also a great one if you're a visual learner like myself. You can actually see, I consistently run on the market. Perhaps you can see a little bit more clear in this view when maybe your buying habits went with the greater market, particular seasonality like produce, for example. Did you ride that wave or did you buy better, et cetera? That can help you to ask more questions about your business. And then if you want to get a little bit more intense with it, you can actually just view this table down here. It's fully sortable, so you can do where the actual shipping location, the frequency, and then of course carrier allows you to kind of see who you're most oftentimes using and maybe what you paid, an opportunity to kind of dive deeper into maybe some of your habits. I'll roll that back up. Calculator, this is a legacy feature that we did replace. Nothing terribly new with it from the onset, just the visual perspective. One thing to note is that when you do toggle between the different rate types, that rate will be reflected over here for you to be able to use and consume right away. A new feature that I'm going to just dive right into is this copy quote. This is brand new. A lot of the feedback that we were getting from every segment, carriers, brokers, and shippers, is I want to be able to use the rate more that I'm looking at. And so really it's just taking the OD pair and the quote at the bottom and being able to for you to copy and paste it. And so this is really just a time alleviation. We're going to continue to lean in more into how we can produce tools on your behalf to be able to run a little bit faster with these on-screen data elements. As we move down, we're going to take a look at the map, which is fun. It's a net new feature to IQ. It gives you a Google route map just for contextual purposes. Obviously very important for the long hauls, or maybe even like the coastal areas that might have a little bit hard to get into areas, or islands, of course, is always a question. The other cool thing is also provides you the geography in which makes up the KMA that I was referring to earlier. So in this particular instance, we're looking at a market rate out of Fresno. If you go down to the 3DZ, it'll give you all the way down to what that 3D definition actually is. And then, of course, if you want to blow it all the way to the region, you can see how big the region is. And of course, it's all of California. And then lastly, mark conditions. This is allows you to click into mark conditions if you'd like, but it gives you a little bit of information. I'll highlight these real quick. So of course, the mark conditions score, which I believe Chad kind of went over a little bit, but we're happy to address it at a later time as well. Load to truck ratio, this is straight from mark conditions data as well. This is load board data, and then the actual physical loads to trucks too. All right, I'm going to end here real quick with a quick shipper spot. So this is a brand new rate type that we released about 2 weeks ago. And again, this is the shipper to broker transaction. This is an add-on. And the funnest part about here is that we're actually providing two rates that are complement each other with the broker spot and the shipper spot. So this is really what the shipper is paying on the spot market to brokers. And a great use case and how to evaluate this is kind of what I alluded to over earlier, which is the compression and the expansion. So in this particular lane, you can see as rates dropped through the early fall, late summer period, the shipper spot rate actually remains stable. This could be an opportunity as if a broker were to look at this, you can actually see where that expansion is beginning to start, and actually maybe lower your possible sell rates to your shipper base, having a better opportunity at winning freight. And equally from a shipper perspective, you can see where rates are actually remaining stable on what typically people are paying. And should you be getting maybe possibly a lower rate at fair price, it's certainly a conversation to have with your carrier or broker partners. So I wanted to show this off real quick. It is currently offered in API and in this interface only. We are introducing it into our dashboard soon, and then multi-lane will be out within the next few months. So stay tuned on that, but really excited to share this new product line. All right, and with that, I'm going to kick it back over to Leah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cole. And thank you again to all of our speakers today. Before we jump into the Q&A, I did want to highlight some big news that you may have heard about. We are very, very excited to share that Convoy Platform is now part of the DAT ecosystem. This is a major step forward for brokers and carriers alike because we're combining the scale and reliability of DAT1 with cutting-edge automation and then trusted capacity from Convoy Platform. So what does this mean for you? Enhanced compliance, easy-to-use platform, fast, reliable service, all within one trusted ecosystem. Moving forward for these launch and learn events, I'm very excited to pull in experts from the Convoy Platform team to share exciting feature updates with you all. For today, though, as a special offer to launch and learn participants, we are offering an opportunity to sign up for a wait list to hear about future enhancements and innovations first. So all you need to do is go to dat.com/Convoy Platform, fill out another form. I know, I'm sorry. And someone from our team will be in touch to share updates as they are available. So super exciting announcement on our side, more information to come, and more updates to be shared during these launch and learns moving forward. Moving on, we are going to open up the remaining time that we have for Q&A. It looks like we do have a couple of questions that have come through from Swoogo, as well as some previously submitted direct messages as well. Fair warning, we will not have time to get through everything in the time allotted today. If your question is not answered live, then I advise that you click on the Contact DAT or Contact Trucker Tools buttons below. On the screen now, you can also see our support address that you can email directly. Let's see. Ethan, I think I'm going to pick on you first. Had a question come through. What safeguards are Trucker Tools using to identify and block VPN location spoofing efforts that fraudulent parties are using to provide false pings?
Awesome. Well, that's a great question. And I know it's on the top of everyone's mind with fraud. So we do have our fraud toolkit that launched a little bit over a year ago, and then we iterated on it a couple of months ago. So currently we do have 6 fraud alerts that are able to detect spoofed location pings, VPN pings, etc. So I can quickly give a high-level overview, but we are able to block and detect pings that are coming from outside of North America. So if we have an IP address that is located in Eastern Europe, where we see a lot of stolen loads are coming from, they may be spoofing location updates from there. We will block and hide those location updates. We can detect VPNs. We detect tools on carrier devices, right? So if they have an emulator installed on their phone, or if they have a compromised device, jailbroken or rooted, we are able to detect that as well. We detect VPNs. We detect carriers that are overbooked. There's a lot of things that we do detect, and we rarely miss anything. So there's really a lot. There's a little bit more to add. So we're going to be adding to our fraud toolkit towards the end of the year again, continuing to focus on fraud.
Awesome. That's great, Ethan. While I have you, can you explain a bit more? How does the waterfall tracking process decide when to trigger text to track?
Awesome. So there are 3 triggers to trigger a text to track automation to make sure you're still getting consistent location updates on your loads. And so if the driver doesn't have the app downloaded and the carrier is not ELD integrated with Trucker Tools, it will start a text to track schedule around pickup time. And then if tracking is interrupted for any way while you're mobile app tracking or ELD tracking, it will also trigger a text to track schedule. And then if it's just a load has not started tracking for whatever reason, it will also start a schedule. So really we're capturing all the various reasons a load may not be tracking and starting that text to track schedule then. And then that text to track schedule will continue to be able to provide you location updates until that driver moves over to some more reliable method of tracking or the load has ended.
Awesome. And then one more, Ethan, just to try and group some of these together. Can the document feature be configured to request different document types at different points in the trip?
Yes. So the text to track document collection automation feature allows you to customize pretty much exactly whatever you want for requesting document uploads. So we have geofence triggers, right? When the driver enters or exits a pickup facility, you can request a certain document. When they enter or exit interim stops or delivery stops, those can request different documents. You can also do it based off of the scheduled stop times of loads, right? So if you want to request a bill of lading an hour after the pickup appointment window, and you want to request a proof of delivery document an hour after the delivery appointment window, those are all things that can be done.
Awesome. Thank you, Ethan. Robert, for you, I'm seeing a few questions in the chat coming through regarding equipment types and attributes. I know the team is always looking for new ways to approve are the types that we offer in DAT1. Anything else that you wanted to highlight there?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, this is just a start to a long journey of us continually improving what we're doing with our equipment types. So if you have any feedback or you'd like us to see any more equipment types changes, always feel free to reach out to customer support, and that feedback will get directly to us as well. But we have a lot more that we're coming out with, and we'll excited to announce those as those get closer.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robert. Yes, we definitely want to hear from you all. Your feedback definitely impacts our future state product innovation. So thank you. Cole, I believe this question is for you. How can I access the state-to-state rate table from the new IQ experience? Maybe you can give a quick update on state and regional matrix, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I actually meant to bring this up, so thank you. Thanks for the question. So it's actually located in the dashboard now on the upper right. So if you look at the IQ Live podcast. It's just right above that in the downloadable form. You can also access it from a link that I did not go over in the very upper right of the IQ rate view as well. So it's just a download function in IQ.
Awesome. Thank you, Cole. I'm seeing a couple questions related to benchmark. One of them being, are these features only available with DAT IQ, not just the general subscription? I can take a stab at this one. So the benchmark tool that Chad demoed is available depending on your current RateView subscription. So if you have any questions about your specific account, I would recommend reaching out to your DAT rep or clicking on the Contact DAT button located near the bottom of your screen. I also see, staying on the benchmark train, can we run weekly, monthly reports with presets for worst performing lanes, or lane breakdown showing worst carriers by revenue, lane by lane, or state to state? Cole, Chad, any updates that you guys had here?
I think, Chad, you were on mute. Try that again.
Sounds like some questions regarding capabilities for IQ benchmark. If we don't get to your specific use case, feel free to reach out to us via the Contact DAT button. Chad, let me know if there's anything that you have to add, but I think the best way would be to get in touch with us directly. After this webinar, I should also mention that a recording will be sent to all attendees, so you can also walk through and revisit Chad's specific demo to see if your questions are addressed there. Ethan, one more question for you. Does Trucker Tools include ELD integrations?
Yes. So when you are set up as a broker for Trucker Tools, all of the carriers who have already been ELD integrated with Trucker Tools over the past, 15 years of Trucker Tools' existence are available to be used for ELD tracking. So there's no need for a carrier to reintegrate just for your brokerage. We are able to pull data from those carriers once they ELD integrate with Trucker Tools in general.
Awesome. Thank you, Ethan. Cole, a question for you on the new shipper spot rate. Can you go through where the data for shipper spot comes from?
Yeah, of course. So it's a part of our existing contribution data set that we have for broker, spot, and shipper contract. Within the recent few years with acquisitions, we've recently been able to, and just more and more contribution data in general, we've been able to actually secure enough data to be able to produce an algorithm behind it. And so it's all the same giant data set. It's nothing different from, it's not load board data. It's not a third party data. It's all the same. It's just essentially the third pie necessary for us to complete it.
Awesome. Thank you, Cole. It looks like we have time for one or two more questions. Again, if we don't get to your specific question in the time allotted today, please do reach out to us. We want to make sure that we're talking to everybody individually. Chad, let's close with a couple of benchmark questions. In IQ benchmark, can you see load level details? Oh, I am seeing now that it looks like Chad's screen is freezing. So sorry about that. One of the questions that came through is, do I have to contribute data to see benchmark results? Yes, you do have to be a contributor at this time. I'm sure Chad's happy to provide some updated responses post-webinar as well if anyone has any questions. So apologies there. Going through, again, if we didn't get to your specific question, please feel free to reach out to us directly. I see that we are just at time here. So thank you so much again to our wonderful speakers for reviewing their product demos. And thank you all today for attending the session live. As a reminder, a recording from today will be shared via email. And thank you all so much again. We'll definitely see you next time.